Hello and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Pattaya, Pattaya Channel's very own breakfast show. I'm your host, Nick Pendrell, and joining me, as per usual, is my partner in crime, Mr. Dave D.
Partner in crime. I love that bit, Nick.
Yeah. It's the bank job we did last night.
Last night, yeah. Nice to see you, Nick. But this morning I got here extra fast.
Oh, really?
Because our next guest got me here on one of the specials.
All right, yes, our guest. He's born to be wild.
To be wild.
Chris from East Coast Choppers. How you doing?
Correct. Morning, Chris.
I'm fine. How are you guys doing?
Morning.
Very good. Okay. Very good. So tell us all about East Coast Choppers.
All right. Well, my name is Chris Brender. People call me Swiss Chris because I'm from Switzerland.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm the CEO and chief mechanic of East Coast Choppers, Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
We located right down here at the Hanuman corner.
Right.
And we do mostly Harley-Davidson-based choppers.
Right.
Yeah. So if you can dream it, we can build it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
our slogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of customizing?
We do a lot of customizing. Yeah. We have a license to do custom bikes from ground up, so frames, engine, everything. If you have an idea, maybe in your younger years you had a vision of yourself seeing something on something, and the customer comes to us and tells us what is his idea, whether he want to go old style or he want to go future style, whatever. And then we come up with a concept.
Right.
We develop the concept for him, and with some figures, of course, afterwards.
Sure.
And then we come to a common goal, and then we build the bike within about 2 to 3 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So what is the bizarrest request that you've ever had for a bike?
The bizarrest request, actually there were two. One was an English guy came and he had a picture of a World War II Harley, and he wanted to build something exactly the
Real
same,
replica, yeah.
but with high-tech parts.
Okay.
And that turned out very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that turned out very well. It looks like a World War II Harley, but it's all with high-tech parts and very powerful. And the bike ended up being sold to Kuwait now, so it's running around in the desert now. It's pretty cool.
What about sort of sourcing your parts in Thailand? I mean, is it just Thailand you source the parts from? You know, if I came to you with a concept, like you say, of an old bike and I wanted it doing like an old bike, but futuristic or whatever, is it very easy to find and source the parts in Thailand?
Well, we don't source practically nothing in Thailand, unfortunately, except the steel.
Okay.
The engines come from the States, from Europe. We source a lot of parts from Europe, from Italy. And Thailand is, we have the labor here, which of course is cheaper than in Europe. And steel, we do steel work, we do welding, everything. But the main ingredients are from the States, from Europe.
I know that they're all going now. I mean, I watch a few programs on the TV, and a lot of guys, when they're making the bikes now, they sort of do it so you can't see any cables.
Right.
Which I think you do that yourself.
We do that yourself, yeah.
You know, you remember the old bikes where you've got all the cables, the clutch cable, the throttle cable, and you can see everything.
Right.
And now they call it invisible. It's all within the frame, which I think is good.
Well, you actually you hit a good point, because if you build a custom bike, you don't want to see any ugly cables.
No.
So once it's done, it looks easier. There are no cables there, but height, 100 meters of cable.
Yes.
Maybe they're a string like this. You know, it's pretty challenging. You have to plan it where you enter the frame, where you exit the frame, and you have to design the whole electric setup for inside cables.
You say that you source your engines from America and Italy and different places. So when that engine comes over, I would imagine that you strip it down.
We strip it down. We strip it down and we modify it.
Yeah.
That's our specialty. We do performance tuning. Like we change the compression, we change the pistons, we do all kinds of stuff to the engine.
Do you get people who come up with totally impractical suggestions that they say, I want to do like that, and it's go, that will be a death trap if you do that?
Not really.
No,
most of them are pretty sensible.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them are pretty sensible.
Are they mostly people who've been riding bikes for a long time? They've started on like normal bikes and sort of work their way up to...
Pretty much so.
Yeah.
Pretty much experienced riders who want to fulfill their childhood dream now to build something special for them.
But do you get anybody who's never really ridden a bike before?
A Kuwaiti guy, yeah, we had that before.
he stands out.
Yeah.
What about, I mean, I used to speak to guys that used to ride choppers around the world, and I've met a lot of guys. And the one thing that I always used to get from these guys when I spoke to them is they say that it's an extension of their self. You know, they believe that, you know, the person within them or whatever, this is what they want to create,
Right.
this is what they want to ride. And they say, my bike is an extension of myself.
Yeah.
So it shows what they like, it shows their dreams.
Exactly,
Would you say that's what it is?
It is it's definitely a lifestyle, and when you hear what ideas people have, you see what's behind their mind. Like I have a very good friend and customer. We build a V-rod muscle, which is a normal newer age Harley Davidson, of course. And we converted it completely. We stripped the engine apart, everything. We turbocharged it. It has more than 200 horsepower at the rear wheel, and there's so many details on that bike, which shows the level of the guy thinking. He's an engineer. He works offshore, do all kind of in the oil business. So it reflects people's mind that.
What about are you practicing at all with I've seen recently they're practicing with the rimless wheel, you know, where there's no spokes or anything in it.
Rimless, yeah. We had some trials on those, on the rimless, but it wasn't really satisfying.
No, I think there's still it's sort of a process ongoing at the moment, isn't it?
But you know, that's okay in the States or in Europe, where the roads are perfect, but with those potholes here,
absolutely. That's what I was going to say.
It blows you out to see it.
I mean, it looks awesome.
It looks cool.
I mean, it looks brilliant, but the road has got to be so flat.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, going down a 3-foot pothole with a rimless tyre isn't the best, is it?
We've talked a lot about the mechanical side, but when I think of custom choppers, I always think of like really ornate sort of airbrush artwork. Do you arrange that as well?
We have our own airbrusher in the house, in the second floor. So we do all the painting in-house,
Yeah, because...
we use a lot of colors from Germany, like Standox or House of Color from the States, which is the leading brand. So you can have like apple candy, all the fancy colors, everything. And the painter is great. He got his little airbrush, and he does everything. Like he makes little peanut.
And about how many coats of lacquer? I mean, you know...
About 3 coats.
Yeah, I was going to say...
You sand it, you coat it, you sand it. You code it again,
amazing.
You send it
you know,
again.
you just think they just lacquer it, Nick, and you think, well, hang on, and then suddenly you find out there's 7 or 8 and 10.
That's how you get the depth.
The depth, especially in the candy that you was on about.
Yeah.
You know, that candy colour. I mean, it gets the depth by adding the lacquer.
I'm just amazed at the ornateness and the amount of work that.
Well, it's a work of art, isn't it?
It's a lot of hours going into it.
I was going to say, what is the most intensive paintwork job that you've ever had? How long did it take your airbrush guy?
About a month.
A month.
Once a month. There was a project called Alien. And you know the famous Swiss designer filmmaker, he just passed away, Giger, Mr. Giger.
Oh, right.
He designed the aliens for the movie The Alien. He became famous with that.
Yeah,
so we had one customer, he wanted all kinds of aliens. So I was spending like a whole month searching for aliens. And then giving that to the painter, and that was pretty creepy, but it turned out beautiful.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
But it was like nearly 100,000 baht paint job.
Just for the paint job alone.
Paint job,
In terms of costs, what is the starting price? If I came to you, what is the minimum amount before we could even start talking?
I mean, for a custom bike, we're talking something around 800,000 to $1 million starting point.
Yeah.
Going up, if you go the whole length, doesn't matter how you turn it, you end up with 2 million.
Yeah.
If you go turbocharged, supercharged, you end up with 4 million.
Right.
Yeah, so 4 million is about
the absolute maximum that you're going to spend, and you must get a pretty incredible job.
What we have to remember, Nick, is number one, they're a work of art, and number two is they're one of their own.
Exactly.
It's the only one.
It's the only one. Yeah,
you know, that's the most important. And of course, there is a big market out there for custom choppers that have been made, custom bikes that have been made for people that maybe have a change of heart. They want to do a new one.
Sure.
There's a big market out there for people buying these things.
Exactly. I mean, there's another clientele we serve, like from the Chesters, for instance. The people own their own bikes already, and they come with their bike, and they say, Chris, what can you do? how can you tune it? Can you make it go faster? I say, of course we can make it faster. And then we start with the engine. We might end up with the paint. We do this, and from a 130 wheel, he might end up with a 260 wheel. So even with existing bikes, there's a possibility to add your ideas.
What is the one that uses the belt drive? I see that a lot. I mean, you see a lot of bikes.
All the newer Harleys are belt drive nowadays. They're getting smaller because they're using a more rigid material with a carbon fiber reinforced. But for the high power application, I still prefer chain because we just otherwise.
I was going to say, the high power.
You snap the belt. Like the bike we just finished now is a 124 cubic inch. That's a 2-liter engine. It's about 160 horsepower. And with a belt, you open it up, you just snap it. So we went to chain.
So what type of people are buying your choppers? As soon as someone mentions choppers, I think Hell's Angels, handlebar moustache, leather.
Right. Well, we have customers from the Hell's Angels here in Thailand, from the Bandidos, from the Chesters, from all the clubs. A lot of people who work in the oil industry, like they work 30 days on the oil field. They have 30 days doing nothing, then searching the internet for new Harley parts, and they come back happy. So I would say age-wise, the age bracket is from 30, 40 up to.
But there is a lot of people, like, especially in the States, that, they work in an office all week. They'll suit the tie on, and at the weekend, they put it to one side, they put the leathers on, they get on the Harley, and they're off. It's basically their way of enjoying and relaxing and sort of letting themselves go.
And what about nationalities?
Nationalities, we got all kind of nationalities. A lot of Brits, a lot of Canadians, Americans, Swiss, Germans, Norway. Norway is pretty strong now.
What about Thais? Are they into the whole culture?
Thais, I have a few very good friends and customers from the Thais. They're mostly singers, movie stars.
Right. Okay. Okay, so it's not really a mass market project for here. I guess they weren't raised on the mystique of Harleys.
Right. It's like the nouveau rich Thai, or the old, like the singers, like Ed Carabao is a good friend. He got several bikes, and so we ride together out to the concerts. That's always a lot of fun there.
But we were raised on Easy Rider. That's the first.
Absolutely.
So we know the
we
culture,
automatically think Harley Davidson straight away.
But you see now, the Thais are very fast. There's a new generation out now with Sportsters, the smaller bike, which fits them. And they buy them like hotcakes. They're like 700,000-800,000 baht, and they can't deliver them in time.
Really?
There's so much demand for them. They're very popular for the Thais, and money is no object.
Do you only cover Pattaya, or do you get people coming from all over the
We have people living in Phuket, in Chiang Mai, in Hua Hin. We send the truck down there, pick up the bikes, do our job, send them back.
So, are you really the only company in the whole of Thailand doing this, or are they having little competitions?
No, we have some competition. When we started 15 years ago, there were 2 big shops, one in Bangkok and East Coast ourselves. Hot Rod here is still in Pattaya also, and there are a few bike shops.
Right.
But in customizing, as we do, like complete engine tuning, taking everything apart, start up from the scrap, we still, I would say, East Coast, Thailand, and the shop in Bangkok.
Do you think Thailand will ever have its sort of version of America where you have the build-off? In America now, they have this program where you have like 2 weeks to build a bike, and then it goes in front. There's 2 people that go in front of the judges, and the judges choose the bike. I think something like that.
We talked about that among the builders.
Yeah, I think it would be good.
Yeah, it would be good. Yeah, it's an idea.
You can put your. I know you're doing it for all the other people,
right?
And you do it for all your customers, but then suddenly the onus is on you,
right,
to put your thoughts onto paper and put it onto a bike, so people can judge you. I think it's good.
Well, I always have like one bike in production, which is my own bike.
Okay.
And then, if I'm lucky, I can ride it for a month or 2. Usually it gets bought off. So.
Great.
So if somebody wanted more information, if they wanted to know how to contact you, what is the best way of doing so? You have a website?
Best way, I have, we're on Facebook.
Facebook?
The East Coast Choppers Thailand. And just send me a mail or come down to our shop, and at Hanuman Corner at Jomtien.
Hanuman Corner,
That's the best
Jomtien.
to reach us. Yeah.
All right. And do you have various models to look at?
Yeah.
Or so
The
they
shop
can...
is full, so you can choose from old style, new style,
Right.
lower budget, bigger budget. Everything is there.
And you can just walk out with one immediately if you want to.
Drive out.
Drive
After
out.
you paid for it.
Thank you very much for coming to
All
me.
right, thanks for
It's
inviting
very
me.
informative.
Thanks.
Stay tuned, everyone, for part 2.